Peace, peace, my peaceful people. What's good? Yeah, we are back. Right, so this isn't actually the most convenient time for me, so brother's actually a little bit tired. Need some sleep, but I let myself get locked into needing to put this video out. Alright, so this is the I Ching. Right, this is the introduction to the I Ching Oracle, right? I Ching Oracle, ancient Chinese oracle system that actually registers as a classic. Okay, this is one of the oldest systems to bless us here on this planet, right? With oracular knowledge, the divination. The smoke is popping, right? Yeah, we like that. That's good stuff. Keep the woogly back. You know what I'm saying? Alright, but we don't want to get it all too much crazy. So now here's the thing. So now, I'm not going to make this like as thorough a class as some of y'all would probably expect. And I kind of tried to warn y'all of that as I've been going along. Because I have a book. I have a beginner's guide to, I Ching. It's called I Ching Divination, the Beginner's Guide. That's what it is. Okay. And I gave away my last copy, so I don't have any copies with me, but I got a copy on the computer. So, yeah, there it is right there. So, right, so yeah, if I can encourage you good folks to go ahead and get your patronage on, the information for my book is in the description box right there. So, check it out, right? But, so this is more so going to be like a kind of like a lecturing on the hexagrams, right? But before we do that, I'm going to introduce the trigrams, right? The trigrams are the three lines that are doubled to make, right? Three lines that are doubled to make the hexagrams, which is 6, right? 6 lines of the I Ching hexagram. And, these combinations are doubled in such a way where it turns out to be 64 hexagrams, right? So what we're going to do is go over the hexagrams and, and the lines, right? So, at some point, I'm going to be able to list it out in such a way that when you start doing your I Ching readings, if you don't have a text handy or something like that, you can come to the video, go to the point in the video, right? We're going to have the timestamps so that I could, so you can get right to a particular line, and I can tell you what it's all about, right? So we're gonna study it like I'm gonna do the Shechem, the Rao Nephramen is Shechem for y'all don't know. I said it before. Probably the best I Ching practitioner of this particular time. Right, I say that I don't know all of the I Ching practitioners. They don't necessarily make themselves known, but of those that we know, this guy is the guy. All right, Shechem is definitely the premier I Ching specialist out here. And this is somebody who has just extensive experience doing a lot of readings for people, and being able to chart the related details of the circumstances to create a strong understanding of the hexagrams and their lines, right? And so we're going to go into the Harlem River arrangement, or the I Ching transcripts, as they are also known, which is a transcripted series of lectures that Shechem did on the I Ching, right? Where he basically broke down the hexagrams, right? He broke down each of the hexagrams, and the deep thing about that particular book is that, in addition to just, knowledge on the hexagrams, like on the way to, delivering the keynotes and things like that of what the hexagram is all about and the lines, etc., he drops all kinds of nuggets, right, of strong spiritual information that is very, very, very good. So I want to go through that, and also we're going to use the I Ching Praxis, which is his new book, right, which is a consolidation of that information pretty much, where he just basically gets straight to the point. So we're going to use those two texts and get this information out so that the folks can have it, right? All right, so so without further ado, what I'm going to do is read you my the intro of my book, right? This is on the back of my book, right? Just to kind of give some context to understand what we're doing when we're dealing with high-level divination, right? Which I Ching is. I Ching is one of the highest level oracles that I understand at this point. Has to do with the cosmogony, right? The understanding of the whole that is presented in the various symbolisms and what they mean for your spirit, right? You have higher and lesser oracles, right? The higher oracles are going to be those that give information for the spirit and ways to affect the spiritual growth of the individual through living the counsel of the hexagram, of the material, I should say. I5 divination does this. I Ching divination does this. Medunitaire divination does this. So yeah, these are premier systems for divination. Right? So it says, for those who view life as a school and one's daily struggles and challenges as classrooms, the I Ching Oracle is a master teacher whose luminous instruction, once inculcated over time, can propel the serious student on the path towards self-mastery. By posing the proper questions to the proper choice of oracle, one has in effect a guide for living. Each human being walking this planet has a great lesson to learn through his experiences. Only the oracle can speak to what it is with certitude and show the common thread of this singular lesson as it weaves its way through her divergent experiences. Valuable insight comes with disciplined queries seeking to discover the effects one's actions and attitudes have on one's life and on others. In this way, we are 1, aided in our understanding of our purpose, 2, checked and rebuffed for ill conduct, and 3, have a measuring stick upon which to evaluate not only our own thoughts and behaviors, but that of others. Right? So you see, high-level divination is not mere fortune telling, right? That's something else, right? Divination, high-level divination. Divination 1 is the a way to affect two-way conversation, communication with the divine, right? With God, right? It is, not something to be feared, right? You have various new religions, right, who have, stared the people in such a way where they make people afraid of these things, or they say these things are evil and things like that. When you think about it, what could be evil about, providing information, right? Especially information that can save your life, right? You do a reading on your health and get the 12 hexagram. Oh my goodness. Now you got a reason to have concern, right? Now you need to be seeking solutions, right? Hopefully it's not 12 straight up. Hopefully that's the 12 going into something like, the 24. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But yeah, it gives you a clue. Now you know that your health is going to tank if you don't do something, right? So what could be evil about that, right? What could be evil about asking on the safety of your child as he goes to the school, or as he goes to the store, or, as we move into this neighborhood? You know what I mean? What could be evil about trying to understand your child's incarnation objective or your own incarnation objective? What could possibly be evil about that? right? See, be careful when they ask you to suspend your reasoning faculty. There's nothing wrong with these things, right? In fact, these things help you. They help you to, focus your walk, right? To focus your walk on some understanding of growth, right? Some understanding of progressing yourself along this path of life, right? So, yeah, so in the high oracles, what you have, if you ask the right questions, is a spiritual teacher, right? You have a instruction for living, right? You have and see, but this thing here that I'm talking about demands from you complete honesty, right? You have to be honest with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, then you are not going to be posing the proper questions to the oracle. You're not going to be asking about yourself. You're not going to be asking the oracle where you are. Asking the oracle to comment on your conduct in this particular situation and evaluate it, right? Because you're going to be looking at yourself in the high light. You're going to be lying to yourself, right? We make that mistake out here. We lie to ourselves plenty of time. We want to see ourselves in the highest light. It's folly, especially when you're dealing with an oracle, because the oracle going to see through you, right? You know what I'm saying? And you're going to just be wasting your time. Like, why even go there? Nah, tell the oracle the truth. You know what I mean? Be truthful with the oracle, right? One of the top rules is that anytime you are asking about some other individual, right, in terms of someone's conduct with you, or what someone did, or what someone might be on, right? In terms of your communication with this individual, you need to be asking about yourself, right? Where were you in especially if it's a situation of conflict. You had conflict, right? This is the best way to solve a conflict. You and your relationship partner are, having a spat, right? Y'all had some situation where y'all was rowing at each other. Okay. All right, now, let's let calmer heads prevail, right? Y'all sit down and do a reading, you know what I mean? Hey, husband, I've had a problem with, your communication style. I think we should go to the oracle to, either validate or invalidate my concern. You know what I'm saying? You both should be mature enough to affect this process, right? You have to go into the thing with an understanding. Let's use the oracle to solve our problems. You know what I'm saying? This is a beautiful way to do relationship right. But the parties have to be mature. If the parties are not mature, what you're going to get is lying to each other and lying to the oracle too. You know what I mean? Y'all gonna be lying on each other. Y'all gonna be, y'all gonna be misinterpreting things. It's about maturity. You know what I mean? Using the oracle is something that you have to develop a certain mindset for. You have to go as Oser, right? Now I'm going into the Medunitaire lingo, right? Because this stuff is, it's just real life. You know what I mean? But Oser is neutral, right? Oser is with a higher understanding of what we're doing, right? Oser is your higher self, your true self, right? So you have to, leave the ego way somewhere else when you go to the oracle, or else you're not going to be asking the right questions and you're not going to be truthful enough to really get proper interpretations out of this oracle. Because sometimes the oracle's going to speak about you negatively. You have to, that is unless you're perfect. If you're perfect, then, you don't even need to be going to the oracle, right? But if you're, like us all, who have flaws that we need to, be addressing, right? Then, you're going to inflict that on another person at various times. You know what I'm saying? You're going to, that's going to be present in your life at various times. So if you're trying to correct yourself, trying to grow yourself, then you're going to ask questions on yourself, periodically assess, comment on my spiritual condition at this point. You know what I'm saying? Look at the answer, Heru Tem. Oh man, dag, who did I scream on? Who was I, being dictatorial with? You know what I mean? Who was I, when was I arrogant? Let me see. Did I, what was my leadership like in this situation over here? Let me go ahead and meditate because I don't see it. What are you talking, what the oracle talking about? Oh man, you know what? Let me sit down and do this Heru meditation, Tehuti meditation, whatever it is, to see what this oracle is talking about, right? Let me sit down and gain insight into what the oracle is talking about. This is how we approach the oracle if we want to achieve some effect of growth. You know what I mean? It ain't just about, oh yeah, what's this person doing over here? That's a whack use of the oracle. That's if all you are doing is trying to get information on, what somebody's doing, what they thinking about you, or, something like this, then, it's childish. It's not the highest use of the oracle. You shouldn't be asking on people who are not under your responsibility, right? Or, affecting you directly, right? Having some direct effect or some direct, I want to say responsibility, but, it don't necessarily have to be responsibility. It's going to be someone who will affect your life in some way. Someone who is, like if it's not that, then you shouldn't be asking about it, right? Keeping it honest, right? Because there is a grand spirit that is behind this, right? We're talking about the tree of life, which, Tehuti governs the tree of life, right? But Tehuti governs high divination. So Tehuti governs the I Ching as well, right? We would put I Ching in that sphere too, high above on the tree, when evaluating it, right? But this oracle is going to speak about, your spiritual condition. It's going to speak about aspects of your person, right? That the oracle will warn you, right? Oracle says, as a matter of fact, hold for 1 second. So let me do a little word about this concept of superior and inferior man, or ordinary man, right? Is another way to that is translated, right? So so the I Ching states among the texts, right? I cannot remember exactly which line it is, but it states within the I Ching. At some point, I'm going to come across it and be able to present it, but it states that the I Ching gives no information. Well, it says the I Ching is for superior man, right? What is superior man, right? So, it's not this understanding that, the I Ching or the ancient Chinese were, dealing in, chauvinism or prejudice. In some ways, yes, right? Because it's all a matter of, scrutinizing conduct, right? Evaluating man, right? People based on conduct, etc. Right? So, some of that was about, but it's more developed, right? The superior man is basically someone who, is a thoughtful individual who, thinks about life, right? Whose mind is geared towards growing himself. Self-development is what the superior man is about, right? So that's why the I Ching says, I have no information for inferior man, right? It says, this is for superior man. For inferior man or ordinary man, we don't have any information, because ordinary man or inferior man is not focused on developing himself, right? It's just someone who's, basically just living out here, right? It's, you can hate it if you want, right? But, that would be inferior of you, right? It would be better to, try and understand more about this concept of superior man, right? I saw a couple words on it online, right? From the Ethics of Confucius, right? That word is truly Kung Fu Sei, right? That's just the true name of this particular sage was Kung Fu Say. They call him Confucius. You know, that's another way to disrespect. I'm not into this thing about people changing people's names, you know, to suit them. That's not cool, right? You know, but, you know, we'll talk about that another time. It says, you know, the superior man makes demands of himself, but the ordinary man or the inferior man makes demands on others. Right, from the Ethics of Confucius. The master said, the superior man embodies the good in man and not the evil. The ordinary man is the opposite. Right? So, you know, superior man is one that looks to the good in man, right? That looks to, you know, the good in life, right? Because the good is associated with God. God is the higher self, whereas that which is associated with evil is the lower self. Right? The master said, there are three things of which the superior man stands in awe. He stands in awe of the ordinances of heaven. He stands in awe of the great man. He stands in awe of the word of sages. The ordinary man does not know the ordinances of heaven, and consequently does not stand in awe of them. He is disrespectful to the great man. He makes sport of words of sages. Okay, also from the Ethics of Confucius. What the superior man seeks is in himself. What the ordinary man seeks is in others. And that's a key right there, right? The superior man, once again, is understanding that this thing here is possessing of something great, right? Something that is connected directly to God, right? So, you know, this is what he cultivates. He cultivates his intuition, right? He cultivates his will. You know, he cultivates his ability to be still, right? You know, whereas the inferior man doesn't know about these things, you know, doesn't, you know, have a strong clue of any of this. So, you know, this is not what he can go about, you know, addressing within himself, right? The superior man understands that life is a process of self-development, and so therefore seeks to these things. So, you know, just to bring it home, you know, the I Ching is for superior men. These are for people who are looking to grow themselves versus just, you know, people who just out here. Right? we out here, you know what I'm saying? We out here, right? Yeah, so that's that. Okay, so what we will do is go over the fundamentals of the I Ching, right? Right, fundamental to the I Ching is the concept of yin, that's Y-I-N, and yang, Y-A-N-G, right? Not yin yang, it's yin yang. Yin and yang make up the two fundamental forces that from which the whole I Ching is built, right? And that is, you know, yin. Okay, yin would be female, or, you know, also associated with water, also associated with things like being open and receptive, right? Yang is male. It's fire, right? It's, you know, associated with being, you know, forceful or directive, right? Versus receptive, right? You know, aggressive versus passive, things like that. So these are opposites, right? These opposites are perfect correlates, right? So the I Ching is built of these opposites coming together in greater and lesser quantities, right? So it starts out with the two lines, right? You know, the yin lang and the yin the yin lines and the yang lines, right? So what happens is, you know, the trigrams are created, right? 8 trigrams are created from this combination of yin and yang lines, right? You know, passive and aggressive lines, light and dark lines, right? Feminine and masculine lines, okay? Okay, so this is from my book, right? The trigrams. The 8 trigrams double upon each other to form the 64 hexagrams. Each hexagram, through 6 modifying lines, expound upon a particular principle to be experienced while living on the earthly plane. 64 times 6 lines equals 384 paths of utterance from which to receive counsel. Each trigram and hexagram will be either of yin or yang quality. This is shown by the bottom line. The 8 primal forces, the trigrams, governing all worldly phenomena, as well as psychological expressions, are delineated by stacking the 3 yin and the yang lines, right? And they are as follows. First, there is Qian. Okay, Qian is the creative, fire, initiative, centrifugal, meaning, in an outward direction, right? Outward from center, right? Doing, power and ability to do, potency, strength, courage, vitality, clarity, decisive, resolute, active, male, gonads, seminal fluid, executive seat of authority. The king, president, boss, leader, captain, coach, expert in a field, right? The mother in a single parent home, right? Because we're speaking about the authority. The producer, the director, the father, the solar, the sun. Qian is the one that stands above, the authority and the seat of power. The creative power and authority granted from vitality, talent, and later, after sublimation, from wisdom and experience. Qian's external power and ability comes from the cultivation of vitality and seminal fluid in men, and a woman's determination, strength, and courage comes as well from her cervical secretions. The message is the generative fluids should not be squandered if one is to produce creative power. Overindulgence in pleasure, too many orgasms in men, and too much orgasm-less sex in women should be avoided, as these are things that decrease vitality, such as alcohol, the same as alcohol, drugs, and depression. Qian is the power behind one's intention. It is commanding, by extension can be demanding, the carrying out of words and thoughts, creative action, the doer, the power that directs the spirits, the magician, etc. Vices, arrogance, dictatorial, fiery, unreceptive, violent, destructive, no regard for the law, might over right, prideful, egocentric, selfish. The Qian trigram is pure yang quality. Okay? That's Qian. Okay, moving right along, we have its perfect opposite and correlate, which is Kun. Right? As you see, it's just 3 broken lines. Okay? The receptive, water, yielding, centripetal, meaning turning inward, right? Trance, or altered consciousness, listening, obedience, following, humility, openness, submissive, devotion, caring ability, nurturing ability, psychical receptivity, flexibility, a good wife, intuitive guidance through mediumistic trance, patient, calm, the mother, lunar, moon. Kun is the ability to receive, the polar opposite and complementary of Qian. She receives. Kun is the medium for the spirits. Through this energy, one can communicate with the metaphysical realm, experience clairvoyance, etc. Kun is motherly love, intuitive, caring for others. Her place is inside, or the inner planes, introspection, the home. Right? She is devoted to the family and will expend her energy in cultivating this devotion. Far from the fighter, Kun prefers to avoid confrontation, except when it comes to the subjects of her devotion, her children. It is for these lucky ones that she will sacrifice her life to protect. Kun employs the strength of humility, Modesty is her tool. Through it, she gains support. Vices: fearful, cowardly, shrinks from responsibility, lazy, impatient, lackadaisical, weak, timid, subject to intimidation, indiscriminate imitation. Kun, the Kun trigram is of pure yin quality. Okay. Pardon me. Okay, next is Chen, arousing thunder, motivated, active, excitable, quick, forceful, drive, the initiator, the mover, and shaker, burst of external power, sexual excitability, athletic, martial, Mars. All right, so this is a Heruka-Huti correspondence we have here. The first one, Chien, was a Heru correspondence, right? Also Heruka-Huti, right? Because we're talking about power, right? You know, more so leadership, though, is a Heru thing, a solar thing, more than a martial thing. Although, you know, Mars can actually lead as well, right? But it would be less of a balanced leadership, more of a harsh kind of a leadership, right? And Kun would be the moon, right? Kun would correlate to Auset, right? The mother, right? So all the qualities of, you know, that we just spoke about, right? Receptivity and, you know, internal and things like that, right? Okay, so Chen is nervous energy. When in balance, it is the proper motivating energy to succeed at external activity. Chen is the initiator of movement, self-motivated, has the energy and motivation to take advantage of opportunities. Similar temperament to Chien, but younger and less the authority. Vices: quick to anger, impatient, impulsive, leaps before looking, lacking in reason, the dumb jock syndrome, lacking introspection due to external power and excitability, sexual promiscuity and or perversion, overindulgence of sexual appetite, suffers from nervous anxiety, can easily be shocked. Chen is a yang trigram. Okay, next is Sun, the gentle wind. Mental penetration through autosuggestion, affirmation, verbal suggestion, repeated. Logic, right thinking, ideas, writing, persuasion, communication, mercurial, Mercury. What Chen accomplishes through movement, Sun does through thoughts. Sun is the plane of mental activity, all good things that come from mental work, writing, ideas, thinking, autosuggestion, hypnosis, talking, or communication otherwise. The daily affirmation is eventually actualized. Things that develop over time, like erosion caused by elements, wind, etc., can be suggestive of delays as it needs the time and gentle persistence to penetrate, as opposed to Khan, the trickster. Sun is operating through right knowledge, correct cosmogony, positive, Mercury. Vices: indecisive, talkative, suspicious, repeats his negatives, spins the wheels, persuasiveness or cleverness, right? Rationalizing of negatives, loquacious, overly reliant on thoughts as opposed to action, procrastination. Sun is a yin trigram, and you understand what the quality is, the elemental quality is, by looking at the bottom line of each trigram. Sun is of the Sebek quality, right? Mercurial, right? So Sun would be like the Mercury card, or the Sebek card, I should say. Okay, so the clinging fire, light, enlightenment, clarity, reason, reasonable, clear-headed, focused, the facts, empirical evidence, analytical, scientific thinking, solar and mercurial, the sun and Mercury. Li is the clarity, Li is clarity of sight / thought. It is clear-sighted reliance on what is seen and therefore can be proven. Li is the detective who comes to a crime scene for the evidence and gathers it from what is happening. Li is the temperament midway between the authoritative heat of Qian and the reckless fire of Chen. Its fire is likened to that which enlightens the way, rather than burns the way up, right? Okay, its clarity is dependent on health, dietary concerns that affect the ability for clear thought, such as blood sugar and the health of the spleen and digestive functions. This is what the fire of Ling clings to, like when fire clings to the log as its fuel. One's mental clarity depends on one's health. Okay. Vices: overly left brain, too empirically focused, clueless in the realm of life that can't be seen. Lack of right brain input, hence lacking reasonability. Atheism: overly opinionated without proper reasoning. Li is a yang trigram. Okay. Next there's Kan, right? The abysmal water. Ignorance, both lacking in knowledge and acting from cunning, deceit and aimlessness. Cleverness, the darkness of depression. Hard-headed, willful, stubborn, foolish, selfish, self-interest, danger, dangerous, trickster, immaturity. Mercury or mercurial to the negative, on the negative side. Kan is the murky waters as opposed to the nurturing waters of Kun. In the depths of the sea there is no light. Here is where Kan lives. It is the dark, danger of youthful immaturity. Kan is the restless teenager with idle hands and the danger that it can produce, or that this can produce. It is unwilling to listen due to thinking it knows. It is the cleverness that sees not the whole, hence makes big mistakes. The underhanded criminal whose game is scheme and score. Also the darkness of depression, the picture of one sitting in a dark room. Vices: Kan seems to be one big gigantic vice. That's what I wrote. With the exception of cleverness, all of Kan's attributes tend to be used in service of negativity. Wherever Kan appears in a hexagram, there will be ignorance, danger, deceitfulness, cunning, darkness, etc. Kan is a yin trigram. Okay, next there is Tui, the joyous lake. That which is motivated by pleasure, love of pleasure, pleasurable things and experiences, romantic, beauty, tasty, aromatic, external joy. I only say that right. External joy. Fashion, sociability, attractive or attraction principle, sensuality, accommodating, emotional, matters of the heart, Venus, Venusian. All of the forest animals gather at the lake, hence the picture of social intercourse. The mood is joyful and easy. The concerns are for all things unseen. At the party, we get dressed up. We seek admiration for our external beauty, as well as seeking beauty in others. Right? Tui is the youngest sister. The bottom line of Tui is yang line. Hence, the trigram is yang. As such, matters of passion and external joy, pleasure, are to be considered. Vices: overly indulgent, addictions, promiscuity, too much pleasure, sex, alcohol, drugs, etc. Stuck on externals, hence fails to find the inner source of joy. Lazy, overly emotional, emotionally motivated, superficial, lacking sincerity, seductive ways. Tui is a yang trigram. Okay. And lastly, there is kin. Keeping still, the mountain, meditation, deep thought, mental/emotional stillness, introspection, seriousness, sobriety, stubbornness, rigidity, scientific thought, contemplation of divine law and high principles, priestly, priesthood, hermeticism, stopping, stalling activity, waiting, patience, Saturn. Kin is that which focuses inwardly. The mountain is an image of heights from which a great deal can be seen and at the same time are inaccessible to those below. This is analogous to meditation. Kin suggests a ceasing of forward motion toward a goal in order to gain an understanding through meditation and heavy contemplation. The plus side of this introspection is the creativity and scientific invention that can be produced. Waiting in deep introspection, stillness. It is rigid immovability, like a mountain. Vices, lethargy, laziness, stubbornness, too content when a sense of urgency is indicated, waiting too long, too rigid, in resolution when need is flexibility. Daydreaming, depth, thoughts that are of no consequence, procrastination. Kin is a yin hexagram. Okay? Okay, so these are the fundamentals of the I Ching, right? These are the building blocks for all of the hexagrams and paths of utterance, right, or counsel that will be given, right? That was kind of loquacious. I was getting my soon on, right? So yeah. So now, when if you are, initiating your process of divination, you want to give honor to these principles, right? You want to, say a bit of a prayer, about respect, right? This is about setting up the relationship by which you will now communicate or receive communication, right, from this divinity, right? So, with the images, what you were to do is kind of say the principle and see the principle, right? And at the end, see the Tao, right? Which is the balance of all of these principles together, right? So, that is that's a little introduction, right? So hopefully, wow, we went 50 minutes. I didn't expect this to be that long, right? But, okay, so yeah. So from here, we're going to get into, the actual hexagrams, right? We're going to break down the hexagrams and, give the keynotes, right? So that you can go in and relate your details for interpretation. All right. Now, if you want to get with, an understanding of how to actually build the hexagrams and do readings, right? The various modes of interpretation, right? There are various filters that we use to, to see things within the structure of a hexagram, right? So you can actually purchase the book, right there in the description box. All right. So with that, folks, I'm going to say peace and love, and we're going to do this next time. All right. Peace.